Thank you very much. First of all, DLD gives WWF the opportunity to speak to you and take a discussion on technology and innovation slightly on a different angle and perspective. First of all, let me just test the waters a little bit. Can you please raise your hand if you know what WWF is? I'm going to talk to you later because you apparently don't know what it is, but thank you. This is great, and well done, WWF Germany. We have WWF Germany actually front row here. Herbert, maybe you can stand up. So if you want to connect with WWF in Germany, here is Herbert Brandes, the Director General of the organization here. So I gave the title to this short speech as how are we reaching a turning point, not a tipping point, but a turning point for the planet. And this is something that I think when we talk about innovation and technology, often we forget, which is both the impact that technology have on the planet and as well the potential to be a major solution to some of the biggest problems we're facing today. First of all, I will welcome you all to the Anthropocene. This is an interesting term that the scientists have decided to begin to call the age we are living in today. The Jurassic was the age of dinosaurs. The Anthropocene is the age of humans, because human activities are having such a profound impact on the environment, the composition of the atmosphere, the ozone layer, the acidification of the ocean, the biodiversity loss, the depletion of soil, that actually, including the plastic that we put into the ocean, we will leave an irreversible mark on the planet, and the fossils of the future will show that. So we have entered a new era that it is dominated by humankind. The good thing about Anthropocene, however, is that we know exactly what the problems are, we know exactly the impact we are having, we know exactly the consequences of our impact. We know, for example, that in the last 60 years, this is a blink of an eye compared to the life history of human on the planet. In the last 60 years, from 1950 more or less, we've been exponentially growing the utilization of almost everything, driven by population growth and economic development. If you think of timber, water, energy, fertilizer, pesticides, fish, everything you can think of, we've been accelerating exponentially its utilization. And we know that this is absolutely not sustainable. We know that the planet is incapable to cope with this pressure. We know that we are cutting trees faster than they can regrow. We fish the fish faster than they can reproduce. And we are pumping into the atmosphere CO2 and greenhouse gases faster than the planet can absorb. Climate change is perhaps the stronger, most dramatic phase of what we are doing to the natural system, to the Earth system. This is the warming of the atmosphere over the years. And as you can see how not only is warming, but is accelerating the warming as we get to today's time. And nature is telling us the same story. In the last 40 years, half of a generation, we actually lost more than 50% of the wildlife on our planet. Today, combine the weight of people, cows, chicken, pigs, dogs, cats, is 3 times more than everything else that lives on the planet. But because we know, we are also beginning to understand a number of important things. Perhaps the most important thing is that we begin to understand that we cannot afford to destabilize the climate. We cannot afford to lose nature at the pace we're losing today. And we know that we have to stabilize our population and the way we consume the resources of the planet. So we're living in an interesting time where, on one hand, the state of the planet is going down, the pressure on the planet are still going up, but the exciting dimension of the Anthropocene is that the response is beginning to also raise. And this is what gives us hope, and this is where technology and innovation comes in. For example, pollution and climate change and greenhouse gases. Technology of the old technology that came in with the combustion engine German technology, and many other developments are generating the major impact on the climate. But it's also true that the recent years, the renewable energy revolution and the technology behind renewable energy and clean energy has been dramatic, to the point that today the cost of solar and wind energy in many countries in the world is already beginning to be competitive with the fossil fuel. And there is unprecedented innovation. I could mention so many examples. This is one of the most striking ones. This is not a piece of glass. This is a solar panel. And the buildings of the future will have solar panels in our windows and generate electricity in the grid and for direct use of the people living in those buildings. There is so much more to say about innovation on the climate, but this is an example of that. Close to WWF art is also the conservation of wildlife. We are living in a moment of poaching crisis, as you say. A lot of wildlife is being killed for trade. This is actually a tragedy that kills elephants, but also is a tragedy for the people involved in this traffic. And the technologies come in with the remote sensing, thermal sensing, drones, and all the rest that allow us to follow, monitor, and fight poaching much more effectively than ever before. Understanding what's happening, tracking both poachers and wildlife, and actually deploying action much, much faster. But also, there is now a new technology that is able to spray nano paint on, for example, ivory or timber or any other product that is traded and allow to track that product across the chain, avoiding illegal trade. Takes down the plague of the ocean plastic. This is something quite recent, which is booming and exploding on our planet. Plastic is an interesting chemical innovation. It was created to last very long, and funnily enough, the majority of the plastic we're using today is used in a few hours' time. Most of the plastic is actually disposable plastic, single use. We use it, we throw it, and lasts for hundreds, thousands of years in the environment. This is really a big problem, and it's not just aesthetic. It's not just because it's ugly to see. It's actually beginning to pollute the environment, to break into microplastic, go into the food chain, affect our own health, as well as the health of many other living organisms. And the response of technology here is super exciting. There is a new wave of completely biodegradable plastic that could be easily used and deployed to replace the oil-based plastic, particularly single-use. This is a company that does drinking straws, and you can drink your drink and eat the straw after that. It's a straw that could be flavored, it could be added with vitamins, you can come up with all sorts of ideas, and isn't that genius? And isn't that logical? And it's actually happening. And finally, the last comment is about the fate of our oceans. The oceans have been ignored for so long. We've been looking at the ocean like something so big, so infinite, invincible. Actually, the ocean is a very fragile ecosystem, and we're beginning to understand that very clearly. Overfishing, acidification, pollution, plastic, you name it, the pressure on the ocean is immense. And today, we're beginning to look at what is more known for a ledger mechanism for cryptocurrency, the blockchain, to actually create full transparency on seafood from where it is fished, from bait to plate, from where it is fished to where it is traded until the supermarkets where it is sold. So these are just a few examples of how innovation can really support environment transition. Let me conclude on a more sentimental side, though, because we're talking a lot about technological innovation. There is another crucial innovation that we need to trigger, and this is the way we look at our planet. The most important innovation is going to be actually happening in our mind and in our heart. It's about considering the environment as the foundation for our economy and our social development. It's about looking and investing in nature as a massive return for our own health and well-being, and it's about embracing WWF challenge, WWF mission, which is a challenge of living in harmony with nature. we begin to see in WWF that protecting nature, we are actually protecting people, and we're seeing the inspiration and the value, material value of nature coming together. We see that there is one agenda about nature and about people, and it is the same one, because we both need a healthy environment. And we are about life. What we are talking today about technology for nature and for the planet is actually technology for life. The famous and iconic life in the wild, the smaller life that is so equally important, and us, because we are part of the same web. Thank you very much.